Before we start this reading vlog, I just wanted to say thank you so much to HCC Frenzy for sending me a review copy. I really appreciate it, and that does not affect my review in any way at all. This is a completely objective review. I just happen to really adore this book. Hello, beautiful people. This is a reading vlog of Blood Scion. I'm about halfway through. It is release day and I have not finished it yet due to the fact that I have had no sleep for the past week, and so I am extremely tired and reading is very difficult. However, I am really loving it and I would love to get a review out as soon as possible to spread the hype for this amazing book. So come along with me as I finish reading it. Waiting for the kettle to boil is like painful. Alright, tea is acquired, and I think I will do like a brief rundown on what this beautiful book, look at that cover, a brief rundown, sorry, I'm just like obsessed with it, it's so pretty, of what the book is about. So the book follows this young girl named Sloane in this terrible post-colonial world. It is Yoruba/Nigerian inspired, and in this world, these people called the Lucius, which are basically just white colonizers, have taken over, her land and her country, and have completely destroyed it. They have destroyed religions, cultural customs. There is colorism that the book touches on, as well as genocide, and she is being forced to go fight the Scions, the Blood Scions, or the Shadow Rebels, who are the remnants of her people who are fighting back. And the catch is that she is also a Blood Scion descendant of the gods. She has fire powers that come from the fire god, and if she is found out, it's over for her. So far, this book is absolutely insane. It is so good. No character in this book makes me as infuriated as the queen colonizer herself, Olympia Terrasis. She is obviously a white woman. She is described as being very, very pale, the color of ice. And every time we meet this lady, every time we meet her, she is wearing a culturally appropriated gown from Yoruba culture. And in the book, the traditional clothing has been outlawed. If you are caught wearing it, you are executed. But she has decided to claim it for herself and culturally appropriate it. And it's just the juxtaposition of her wearing this traditional attire every time that our main character sees her is just so frustrating. And also a very chilling reminder of the kind of cultural appropriation that goes on today. Cultural appropriation, a lot of people seem to think of it as this very harmless thing, but it is incredibly harmful, especially when you think back to the days of colonization. Shit like this happened. This isn't just a fantasy book. This takes from real life, and I think it is incredibly important to remember that while you are reading this book. It is 7 o'clock, and I am just taking a break to eat dinner. I also took a break to make a Bookstagram post about sapphic vampire books. I'm on page 222, just I think a little over halfway now, and I just gotta say again how violent this book is. They are currently being brainwashed for the army, and it's intense. It's a lot. I'm finding I have to read a couple pages at a time and put it down just because the imagery is very strong in my head when I'm reading the descriptions of all the horrible things that are happening. So if you're someone that, that's my girlfriend, if you're someone that has a very vivid imagination, if you are reading this book, just remember to take it slowly because it can get very intense. Took a quick 5-minute break to do eye masks with my girlfriend. Nice little self-care. They are the pomegranate eye masks, the anti-fatigue ones from Sephora. I have been very tired, like I said earlier, so, you know, maybe this will help me look less tired. But I am now on page 243, and we got some really nice moments with our main cast of characters. Some alliances are forming. It's very nice to have a little bit of a reprise from all the violence and actually have some nice moments for the characters where they can breathe and prepare for what's ahead. I am very nervous to see how this ends, because if the first half of the book was any indicator, the ending is going to be absolutely insane. Okay, it is the next morning. I actually fell asleep last night, so I was not able to finish it. However, I am very close to the end. I'm on page 285. There's really not that much left, and things are getting serious. I will say, though, and I really hope this isn't what I'm thinking it's shaping up to be, and spoilers, but there's a colonizer character who's becoming, I don't know, sympathetic, and I just know it better not be a love story. I really don't want a love story. But other than that, I am absolutely adoring this book. The writing is gorgeous. I cannot get over how beautiful the writing is. I don't even know what to say. Page 362. I genuinely am in shock. I really don't know what to say. I don't know what to say except that, like, I was not expecting that. I should have expected it, but if you've read this book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Deborah Falaye, you have written a freaking masterpiece. I have goosebumps. I am in shock. I need the next book now. I can't even do a review with my thoughts. I have literal goosebumps. Like, wow. I'm gonna go to work, give my thoughts some time to coalesce, and then when I get back, I will do a proper review, because holy shit, this book, you guys, this needs to be on all of your TBRs. This, like, everyone needs to read this book. That's how good it is. Okay, I have had some time to sort of sit with the book and think about it and think about what I want to say, because like you saw in that last clip, I was genuinely in shock finishing this book. I don't think the ending of a book has kind of blown me away like that in a long time. I think the most comparable would be the ending of the first Red Queen book. That kind of ending that leaves you in shock, this is definitely comparable to that in my opinion. And I have sort of had some time to think about it and think about what I want to say, because honestly words are failing me. I really don't know how to review this book because I just loved it so much, and that's a problem that I find I have a lot, is when I love a book so much, I'm just like, I don't know what to say, I loved it. But I definitely have some thoughts that I have kind of figured out, put to paper, if you will. I find that helps me get my thoughts out. So to start off, I think we should look to the author as she describes this book best herself. I honestly could not come up with a better way to describe it than she could. Obviously, she wrote it. And so this is from the caption on her Instagram post that was posted yesterday in celebration of Blood Scion being published. This story, and I quote, is the one of a young girl's fight for her culture and identity, a black girl's resilience and survival, her anger and rage, her hope and humanity, even in the midst of so much darkness. That right there is definitely the heart and soul of this book. That is definitely what it is all about. I genuinely loved this book so much. I mean, I can't rave about it enough. From the second I opened it on the first page to the second I closed it, I was in love with this story. The world building, the Yoruba/Nigerian mythology that inspired this story was so rich and interesting. I'm definitely going to be going and doing some research on that later. And Sloane, our main character, is an extremely compelling main character. I find books that don't have a compelling main character to be very hard to get into, and this book does not suffer from that at all. Sloane is so fiery, pun intended, that you just can't look away from the book. It was truly incredible. There are some major trigger warnings for this book, though. I will go in a little more detail. There are 2 instances of sexual assault. If that's something that is triggering for you, then this book might not be for you. You might be able to avoid it, but they are kind of not integral, but they do serve the plot, if you will. So the effects of it are there in the story. And then as well, the violence is very gory. I don't think I've actually read a young adult book that was so graphic in its violence, but I think that was necessary for this story. I mean, this is a story of genocide and colonization, and it's difficult to tell that kind of story without, hiding the violence. It's not the kind of story where you would want to shy away from it and kind of gloss over the horrible things that happen because of colonization. But if you are sensitive to depictions of violence in books, you might need to put the book down a couple times here and there just to kind of, breathe. But I will emphasize that I believe that those depictions of violence were necessary for this book. Again, it would have been very difficult to get the story right if the author had kind of just glossed over the horrors of genocide and colonization. As for the story itself, I really liked that it was split up into 3 parts. I love books that do that. It kind of helps me separate it in my head, kind of like the 3 acts of a play. Whenever books do that, I love that. It really helps me when I'm reading the book, and this book does do that, and I love that. The first half of the book is definitely the longest, like the first part, the first act of the book, if you will, is definitely the longest part. It does take a little bit of time to gain momentum, but once the story is in motion, it just flies along. By the end of the book, I felt like I was like running a marathon. I was like, oh my god, we're going so fast, but like not in a bad way. How some books are like, they go too fast and they gloss over things and they're like, you feel like you just missed a whole chunk of the story. Blood Scion does not do that. It goes very fast, especially towards the end, but it goes fast in a way that like allows you to still get the full scope of the story. And I'm just gonna say again, that ending, I legit did not know what to say. I put the book down and I was like, what do I do now? What do I do now? Where is book 2? I need to know what happens. Yeah, so definitely be prepared for a kind of shocking ending that will leave you speechless. Overall, I think this was an absolutely incredible book. I know I keep saying that, and I will continue to keep saying that. This is definitely one of the best releases of the year so far that I have personally read. If you are looking for a really cool Yoruba Nigerian inspired fantasy story that focuses heavily on the effects of colonization, as well as having a really neat magic system and a very compelling main character, then this is the book for you.